So with our handsome Mr. W, I wanted to work a little bit with some leave-its. I know our other Mr. Z got to work a little bit with leave-its a little bit ago. So when the puppy, again, notice how he starts to do this little jumping behavior when the gear gets put on. Remember that for a lot of puppies, that whatever is going on physically or mentally, and sometimes we reinforce it through positive or negative attention, your puppies may be getting a little confused as to what you were hoping was the right skill. So I would make sure that if, again, you don't like what your puppy's doing, think, what would I prefer? Or am I maybe working them past their understanding or comfort range? He's like, lady, I swear you dropped it. It was stuck in my hand. So we might do, again, a little find it over here because we got a couple crumbs on the floor. He says, I did not see. He's got some really nice fluff, so sometimes he doesn't always notice the snacks past his lovely fluff. So when you're working with leave-it items, I'd recommend to typically pick household items that you find are easy to work with and that the puppy doesn't find too overwhelming. So notice how, again, he's a little intrigued with what I have to offer. I'm going to just do a quick little find it off to the side, plop out my no-no item. So right here I go, leave it, yes. And then if he wants to go back to the find it that I threw earlier, feel free. So right here, yes. Sometimes you can also practice a little bit with that positive interrupter. So remember, if you don't always know what to say at the time and you forget about the slogan that you were working on, oh my goodness, chewing, then what I would recommend, and two, I don't know if I know when he was brought in, you were using a slip lead because you were worried he would escape. Sometimes though, as puppies are not really as aware of what they're doing to their bodies, remember that a lot of times with gear that's aversive, so it either causes pain or discomfort or lack of oxygen, that gear can at times cause injuries. So for a slip lead, just like a choke chain, nylon or chain material, as it tightens, it gets more and more restrictive around their neck. So he could have maybe at times, he could just be having a hard time, chewing and breathing and walking. So if you're finding, though, he's doing a lot of coughing as you're practicing, I'd definitely recommend to keep using the harness instead. So right here we go, leave it. Yes. Because if, for example, while he's learning and he doesn't quite know what to do with his body, there's going to be times where he will more than likely be pulling. And when he goes to pull, he may, for example, apply a lot of pressure. So right here, leave it. Yes. So if he applies a lot of pressure to that neck, what ends up happening is over time, or with one good jostling to the neck, he could cause some trachea damage. So right here as the leave it goes a little closer, so we go leave it, yes, and feed for that lovely response. So remember, gear that has the potential to, gear that tightens has the potential to frighten. So you want to be very careful with the types of equipment you may choose, because in the learning process, if it feels uncomfortable or adversive to the pup, then you might create associations with that feeling near other things. So ready? Find it. Because if, for example, we're trying to avoid him from escaping, I completely understand a safety situation. You might be better off with, for example, a backup clip or attachment to both a harness and then attached to like a martingale collar or a limited slip collar. So those ones only tighten enough where the puppy cannot pull out of the head collar, like for example, the neck collar, but it doesn't continuously tighten. If you are looking into a martingale or limited slip collar, these, again, should not be everyday collars, and typically when your puppies are unattended, I always recommend naked puppies because it's safer for them. There can be moments where your puppies could get sort of stuck on something and then asphyxiate. So I'm not trying to be, like, again, a negative scenario there. Yes, good check-in. But you want to be very careful that if your puppy doesn't know that they could harm themselves, you take the gear off. Ready? He says, I'm distracted. Ready? Come on this way, handsome guy. But back to gear, a limited slip collar or a martingale collar that has a buckle is what I'd recommend. So right here we go, leave it. Okay, I'll be right there. Ready? Winston. He's like, hold on, there's a wild little woman off in the distance. So we'll give Mr. W a little break. My little one needs to go to the restroom real quick, and then we'll go back into working some more skills. All right, ready? Winston. Good job, sir. So right there, nice, great job ignoring the leave it.